Hello, I'm Corelli, and this is episode 363 of my Cat Vibe series here on my YouTube channel. And of course, first and foremost, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel and enable all notifications, so hit that bell notification. Hit that bell really hard. If you like my content, I am posting videos nowadays, just for this month. One video per 2 days. My normal schedule is one video every 3 days. And I think it would be fair to say that YouTube is one of my main platforms as of right now. I spend a lot of time here. So, this is a scene from late October, I believe, probably. Second half of October. It's very local. There's a creek across the road, further down the road. And I just wanted to paint this creek because it was a beautiful sunny day, and there's kind of like a pipe and a little bridge that runs across the creek. And I thought it was a beautiful view, which I wanted to paint, of course. As usual, I'm starting with the more characteristic features of the painting and then moving to the outskirts and filling in all the supporting elements. I can't tell you what a liberating feeling was it to finally move on from this experimental canvas to normal canvas, and just to feel the grit of normal canvas once again under my brush. The tactile feeling was so pleasant. This experimental canvas, just no matter how much ground you put on it, it still doesn't get the tooth that I like, I guess. It's just too flimsy. It's just too flimsy. I like the end result. I like how it turned out in the end, but this is not the best canvas for the job. Definitely just not for me. But I also love to use these cheaper chip brushes for larger areas. And then switch over to acrylic brushes and occasionally switch over to a variety of hug brushes. I think one of the things that appeals to me so much in oil painting is that it's almost like bordering on drawing, somewhere between painting and drawing. But then the fluidity of this medium allows to either use almost a completely dry brush and just sketch things out almost with no oil, and then to add more oil and use thicker paint and then actually put thicker layers of paint. And I love this versatility. This is a feature that I so like in oil paints as compared to watercolor. Watercolor is just a completely different animal. And, but oil paint is just so appealing to me exactly because of this. Because of what you can do in terms of texture and depth and thickness, and just feeling this point of connection between brushes of different types of brushes and the surface. A toothier surface and a smoother surface, and how does that exactly work? How do they interact, and what does it feel like? I mean, that's turned out to be a big deal for me. And until I got into oil painting, I kind of had that feeling already, almost like it was pre-installed in me, and I wanted to go there, and I wanted to experience this, and I wanted to feel it, and I wanted to feel the bounce on the canvas, and I wanted to feel the non-bounciness and the stiffness of the panel. But I craved this feeling. What does it feel like to put a thicker dab of paint and just spread it out a little bit, like I'm doing right here on the water. And to use an almost dry brush, or to almost add no oil whatsoever, and kind of fluctuate between thinner layers of paint and thicker paint. I find this process mesmerizing. I so love it. I'm so in love with the process of doing this. It's beautiful and it's very satisfying. And that is not to say that watercolors are... I mean, it's not a contest between what medium is best, in the end. It's just a different feel. I also love drawing. But at this point, I think I just gravitate more towards oils because it's just something that captivated me completely, and I'm all about oils. I also want to try acrylic colors one of these days. But I'd have to kind of just look into it and get me some acrylic colors and start somewhere. It all boils down to spending some money on paint and switching up a few things, because it's the same canvas, the same panels that I can use, but I'll have to use different ground. I have to use acrylic ground for acrylic colors, and a slightly different technique, because now I'll be able to use water instead of oil. But I'm suspecting, I think that's going to be a different feeling altogether. I don't know what it's going to feel like, but I think, or maybe I know, maybe I think I know what it would feel like. It's going to be a different feeling anyways. Oil has this stretchiness to it. It has this glossiness to it. And it certainly feels different when you use a lot of oil, or you use thinned out oil, or when you're using stand oil, for example, which is thicker, it's denser. It's less fluid, and I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it, but it has a different feel to it. The way it blends with paint, and the way, how does that translate into what sensation on the tip of my brush in regards to the canvas. It's just a different animal. Sometimes I add a little bit of stand oil, and sometimes I feel that I don't want to, and sometimes I just feel that I really want to use mostly an almost dry brush. Sometimes I don't add anything. And to my surprise, by the way, actually most of these panels, starting from here and the following 7 panels, as far as I remember, there's 7 more or 6 more, I ran out of Gamsol. So I had no white spirits at all, and all this time I was running only on oil. And I've extended that whole bottle of linseed oil that I had for a pretty long time. And I liked it. It helped me to realize that actually I don't really need Gamsol that much, that I can wash brushes with linseed oil. And yeah, of course, these cheaper brushes, they will deteriorate. But that's okay, because I also like kind of messed up brushes, because that allows me to add interesting texture. Like this hug brush, for example. I'm not really... I'm not really getting all bent out of shape about washing brushes necessarily completely clean after every session, because the majority of my brushes are very cheap. They're very cheap, affordable brushes, and they serve the purpose. They do what I want them to do. I have hug brushes which are just sturdier for, a different approach, but acrylic brushes is something that I'm using, and I'm using these cheap chip brushes, and if that brush just doesn't survive, that's okay. I can get another one. But anyways, that's for now, and thank you for being with me, and you'll hear me next time. Ciao.